Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Welcome, everybody, to the Friends in Recovery podcast. I'm your host, Jersey Ed, along with my co-host, Noontime with Sky. And Tiff, where is she? She's not here today. Tiff is feeling under the weather. And so she's nursing a cold and things, and she's going to be back next week. So we had to come on without Tiff. But first and foremost, guys, I'd like to thank Genesis House for their ongoing support of this podcast. Without them, and all of you, of course, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you, everybody, for listening. And I'd like to welcome the Facebook Live people. Hello, everybody. Let's see who's here. Throw some names up there. John L. is here. He is the manager and the go-to guy for our Friends in Recovery. So this week's show, guys, is on Tradition 4. And stay tuned for some great recovery. And before I bring Skylar in, I just want to let everybody know what literature we're using, because I want to see how our week went. I didn't talk to her too much this week, but the literature we'll be using, I'll be using the 12 and 12 for Tradition 4. And I threw in the daily reflection because I don't know how much we're going to talk on all this. So okay. On step 4. So I might refer back if we end up not being able to talk about anything. I'm going to refer to the daily reflection today. And Skylar is going to use the NA basic text and the how and why. So grab all your stuff, and we'll be back here in a minute to talk about everything. Wow, we got a lot of people on today. Pete is here. Bambi, our number one fan. Sandy is here. John L. Welcome, everybody, on Facebook Live.
Hey, y'all. Hey.
Sky, how you doing this week?
Good. It's at the end of the semester, and it's like closer to graduation. So like the anxiety setting in, and then like, the typical addict mindset of like, self-sabotage, just typical stuff that I have to like really work harder at spiritual principles with,
Exactly. Yes.
To be open-minded and honest with my sponsor and checking in and,
be open-minded. That's the main thing here. I don't know what Tradition 4 has to do with open-mindedness. I don't even know what Tradition 4 has to do with AA and NA, but we'll figure that out. But being open-minded is definitely kind of the way to be, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of in a funk. I'll be honest with you. Skylar and I were just talking about it, and I think, we came on here just to make sure that we can get out of this funk. Cause this is how it works, guys. This is how it works. You just get out of your own mind, get out of self. Right. And then things start happening. So
I love thinking I'm so open-minded too. Like, right. I think I'm so open-minded until I'm like in one of these days where I'm like, F everything, or like, they're just pissing me off. And I'm like, wait, I thought I was open-minded. I thought I was optimistic.
I know. I was looking at your text today. I'm like, what the fuck? Really? Fuck you. I'm like throwing a thing down. I'm like, nobody's fucking listening to me. Like, open-minded. That is not open-minded at all.
Right. And that's when we see it, like in our moments of like, when it the character defects, the shortcomings are all flaring out.
Exactly. Yes. But thank
So,
God that was in the car by myself and I didn't text you back. So
right.
yeah.
And
Anyway.
and pause is so key. So key.
It is. Sky, any sober shower? Who else is here? Let's see. Oh, Pete, Lisa just came in. Hi, Lisa. Pete is here. In Facebook
Sandra
Live.
M. My
Yes.
Sandy.
Yep. Hi, guys.
Lisa.
Is there any shout outs do you have today, Sky?
I do. I have Donna C had 90 days.
Hey, Donna.
Felicia had 90 days.
Felicia, 90. Congratulations.
And Andy G had 90 days as well.
Andy, congratulations. I have a quick shout. I have two quick shout outs. One, Bambi, who's on our Facebook Live, who's I think our number one fan, is here. My dogs are barking. So is our number one fan on Facebook Live that I know of anyways. She just celebrated I think 104 days. So and we I think the last show or something we kind of recognized it too. But I love when people count days. It's so great. Like, it's like, people are just into their recovery and it's just great. So congratulations to everybody. I also have one quick other shout out. Joe at Dayton Strong Recovery Podcast, Recovery 101 Podcast. Listen to them, guys. They're great. He is the first person to watch our show on YouTube and whatchamacallit and comment on our YouTube page. So guys, who whatever you guys do, watch us, right? And then not whatever you do. When you watch us, make sure you comment below. Maybe you can get in before Joe comments, right? Like be that first one to make that comment before Joe does.
Right.
And it's I go on every morning, and every morning I go on Tuesday mornings just to see, like, is Joe going to be the first one? Is Joe going to be the first one? So it's Joe at Dayton Strong Recovery 101 Podcast. Go ahead, Sky.
Just to chime on that with Joe, just to give him a shout out, he is starting a meeting. If you guys are in the NA or just want to check out a meeting on Tuesdays and at 6:30 Central Standard Time and Sunday at 7:30 Central Standard Time, and we'll put that in the show notes, the info, or you can reach out to me or check out his podcast and leave a comment on his stuff.
There you go. Yeah, please check
it out.
You,
Joe.
Yeah. Hey, Joe. A couple other shout outs in the room. We have Pete wants to give a big shout out to his sister, Lisa. Hey, Lisa and Pete. Beth just joined us too. So, and if you're not on Facebook Live, you're probably wondering what the hell are they talking about. So, so the Facebook Live people get a little of the insight. Also, if you do have a shout out, Skylar would love to mention your name on the air. Skylar is in charge of our shout outs. So if you want to email us at help at Friends and Recovery Podcast, that's help at Friends and Recovery Podcast.com, or even comment below, guys, and we'll pick the we'll pick up the shout outs or whatever you want to tell us. If you want to tell us about a subject, anything you want to talk about, we are doing the 12 steps and 12 traditions all this year, the according to the month. So we're going to have to try to get that, work it in with it, but we can always do a separate show, Sky, right? I mean, there's always another bonus show,
other days, other links, other more Zooms to do.
That's right. Yes. Exactly.
Exactly.
Sky, what do you have for social media before we get this whole show started?
So with the social media, definitely check us out. We have we are on the AA Intergroup page. We have meetings every day at 12 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you go to the AA Intergroup, you can search Friends in Recovery Community. You can also go to the Friends in Recovery Community website. And then definitely like us on Facebook, the groups, and Instagram as well.
Yeah.
And actually Telegram, which is an app, a texting app. You search Friends in Recovery there as well. And I think they'll be coming a TikTok soon to be.
Here on my sheet, it says TikTok.
I know
So
that.
I'm
I
not sure if
know.
that's the same thing, but I don't know. We might
I
start a
know.
TikTok. So
I assume TikTok too. That's why I was like, I'll
TikTok,
just read that.
yes, exactly. And also the Friends in Recovery Community.org website will be up soon. So keep looking for that, and that'll be there fairly soon. So, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and give us a 5-star review, because guys, that pushes us up in the ratings and in the ratings in the when you're searching for something. So it'll get more and more of the Friends in Recovery stuff out there. It'll give us more exposure, and it'll just in turn help all of us, so
Mhm.
this is a great platform to really kind of get the information. And I'll tell you why this is a great platform, and this is no secret, but every week, like especially this week, I'm like, I know nothing about Tradition 4. I actually even had to look up the word autonomous, right? And I'll get to that in a minute. But Skylar and Tiffany, we all text each other back and forth with videos to watch, because we don't, I mean, it's not like we know this stuff. We learn this stuff and we figure it out. We read about it. We watch videos on it. And then we share it with you guys on our interpretation of what Tradition 4 is. And, there's some really good stuff out there, and we want to be part of that really good stuff. When somebody searches Tradition 4, we want Friends in Recovery popping right up there, right at the beginning, guys. So, give us a like and give us get us a 5-star review. So, Sky, before we start Tradition 4 for the 3-minute show that we're going to have on it, I want to ask you the question of the week. So the question of the week, and you guys can answer that below. Just comment below or in the Facebook Live. Please let us know, and we'll read your answers out in the air too. Or you can email us at help@friendsandrecovery podcast with all your answers. So the question of the week is, which family member makes which one of your family members makes the best food? Which one of your family members makes the best food? So I don't have any other choice but to pick you first, Sky. So
Hands down, my grandma,
Grandma.
right. It's like, I feel like that's an easy standard, but she just made everything amazing. Even her house, when you walked in, it was like constantly the smell of garlic salt, really. But
Oh yeah,
right, like garlic salt,
yeah.
I feel like makes everything good.
Oh my God, yeah.
And
It's
she
just
used it
like,
on everything and anything, and her potatoes were just so good. So
yeah.
that's
Oh
what I always remember, her
God,
potatoes.
I know, I know. Well, I'm gonna have to second that. My grandmother, my nanny, we called her
Mhm.
nanny, and
Oh,
she was a short little Russian woman. Like that's why I'm always pissed off, I think, because I got that little bit of Russian in me. But she cooked. She could blow away any Italian cook in the world. And she cooked Italian. She cooked anything really good, right?
yeah.
And it was just, you walked in her house, and it was,
You smelled it.
yeah, you smelled it. Like she can make a piece of shoe leather taste good, guys. Seriously. So,
What was
um,
cool too is that Graham we'd come there, and Graham would say, "Well, what do you want?" And it didn't matter what it was, a steak, a pork chop, like whatever. She would just whip, like she was like
yeah,
that type.
I know, I know,
I
I know.
love that.
And
Miss that.
so early in my recovery, right? I ended up living at my grandmother's house. And let me tell you, she would start cooking in the morning and all day, especially if she was going to put a pot of sauce on or whatever. But every time I came home from work, I would sit down, and the first thing what's for dinner, Nan? It's pork chops or ribs or whatever, but you're not going to like it. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not going to like it? I smelled this shit all day long. You don't think I'm going to like it?
She doesn't think people liked her cooking.
Yeah, she was. Maybe that's where I get it from. Maybe my imposter syndrome comes from my grandmother and her cooking. So
My one grandmom always said, after everything, and I feel like I say that all the time too. And I'm like, why am I always needing to that validation? We
exactly,
learn things. We learn things.
exactly. Yeah. But
So Carla F, Carla with a K, F. Her dad always tries random recipes, and they always end up good. And he makes amazing Asian meals.
I see that. Yes, I know. I know. Thank you for taking that because my dogs are just barking. I had to put it on mute.
Oh, sweet.
I'm like, oh, hopefully she'll take it. No, but anyways, yeah, Carla Carla's always on. Carla F, right? Not Carla K. Carla F.
Yeah, but she
she's
spells
always,
it with a K.
yes, she's always on our
I
meetings.
said
But
that.
she never cooked for us. Carla, do you cook just as good as your dad?
I taught at the Friendsgiving. Oh, you weren't at the
I
Friendsgiving.
was not. No.
Oh, well, I think that's when you missed out because I'm pretty sure she cooked a lot of stuff there.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
I'm almost positive a lot of the food came from her.
Good. Good. Or me, I make damn good food, Carla says. Yes. All right.
John doesn't have a choice but to say his mother.
Sandy says her sister makes everything great.
I'm a great baker too, Carla. I love like doing sweets, cake decorating. My grandma did all that. And I actually took a cake decorating class as a kid at like AC Moore or something. Hey, that's how we get to know each other around here, right?
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. And Beth R, her sister, is a great cook in the family. Comfort food. Comfort food.
We always need someone like that.
I know. That's another show, isn't it?
Yeah. What are our comfort foods?
Friends in Recovery Comfort Food? I'm Chef Ed along with Chef Sky. And Sandra M says her sister makes wedding cakes. So
nice.
you need a wedding cake, contact Friends in Recovery and we'll get a hold of Sandra. Anyways, guys, so today we are going to talk about tradition 4. Now, this tradition, I did a lot of research. So did Skylar. We were going back and forth with a lot of different ideas, what we're going to talk about, how we're going to talk about it, different podcasts we were listening to. I read the book 3 times. It's a short chapter. It's 4 pages basically in the 12 and 12. So tradition 4 is each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole or NA as a whole, because we talk about both programs here. So I looked up autonomous. I don't even know what autonomous meant. Every time I heard, I'm like, yeah, autonomous, whatever. So I looked it up. There's a bunch of different meanings. But first of all, at the beginning of the chapter in tradition 4, it says autonomy is a $10 word. That's how it starts, right? But in relation to us, it means very simple that every AA group can manage its affairs exactly as it pleases, except when AA as a whole is threatened. So that still didn't tell me what autonomous means, right? I'm like, okay, it's a $10 word. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a $10 word, but what does it mean? So autonomous means that having the right or power of self-government. There's a bunch of different different definitions. Undertaking or carried on without outside control, self-contained, existing or exist. I can't read my hand. Existing independently. That's what that says. Oh, cow. Okay. And responding, reaching, or independently of the whole of I didn't even know what I wrote in that last one. That last one didn't really kind of correspond to what I was thinking. But autonomous means having the right or the power of self-government. Government. The other thing, I'm like, all right, let me look up Urban Dictionary too, right? Let me see what Urban Dictionary said. And it says having the right or the power to be self-governed. Now, if you guys know the Urban Dictionary, it's like crazy shit that comes on there, right? Like, like I just looked up other stuff and it like don't look up
what's a Karen.
Exactly. Don't look up the definition of cucumber unless you want really fucking funny definitions in the Urban Dictionary. But this just said having the right or the power to be self-governed. It's just a very simple word that means just to take care of it yourself and within the group. That's basically what it means. And that's what tradition 4 means, is that we're going to kind of, each group is going to be run independently. Each group is going to just do their own thing, right? And if I now thinking about it, Sky, is when I go to meetings, you go to one meeting, they're saying the serenity prayer at the beginning and the Lord's prayer at the end, or you go to this meeting, there's never any consistency. I'm like, well, why don't these people get the letters from AA where you have to read everything? I remember going to one meeting, I shit you not, 25 minutes to open this meeting, right? For between reading everything and the secretary's report, the treasurer's report, this. And I am telling you, it was a Saturday night meeting at 8:30, and there had to be 150 people at this meeting, right?
Oh, wow.
So
And they all stayed?
They all came for a half hour to listen to somebody speak. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the way that meeting
NA has a lot of readings in the beginning. We do. We do. We have why are we here? What is the NA program? What it was an addict, the traditions. We read all of it, every single one. But it just used to annoy me, and now it helps me reaffirm it and keep going. But the thing with tradition 4, why this gets so sticky though, is because that comma, right? It says each group should be autonomous, right? Comma. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think a lot of people stop there because we do have a freedom, but to an extent, to that comma. We have freedom until that comma, except in matters affecting groups or NA or AA as a whole. So that means we can have freedom, right? But we still have to think of the one thing, because you know what the one consistency is though, Ed? The message. Carrying the message to the addict who still suffers, and also a safe place where they can go, even if they're high, even if they just need a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's probably what is consistent. Because think about it, no matter what online meeting I went to, that was the main thing I went. And everywhere I traveled, isn't that the one thing? Even though they may run it different, I think in Delaware, there was not raising hands. So I was standing there in the meeting, my hand raised, and, because they didn't do it that way. But the energy of recovery, the message that that was still the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I could listen to a meeting in a different language and still hear that. I feel that.
You probably could somewhat understand where they're at with it.
Right?
Yes, I have to agree with you. Yeah. But you ever think about this? AA or NA doesn't have this sheet that they hand down, that they email you or they mail you out, that you have to figure. I mean, this is worldwide. This is not in some podunk they talk about in the book, some middle, what they call it? They call it Middletown, USA, right? This is not Middletown, USA. This is a major group of people that got together, and there is no consistency, right? For how a meeting is open, how a meeting's closed, how a meeting is run, what kind of meeting it is, right? There's it could be whatever you want. You and I can go start a meeting down at the church down the street, have a coffee pot, get a couple of drunks together, and we can have do a spiritual meditation meeting if we wanted. I think you or Tiffany telling me that there was, I think it was both of you guys, a music meeting. Yeah, you went to it, right? Tell us a little about that. What that was.
Exactly. So we could, as long as it's not affecting NA as a whole. And that's where it's oh, what's your interpretation of that? What's my So that's why we have the group conscience, and we say, okay, let's let God in before we make any decisions, because he governs all, and then we try to remember to be spiritual, because before sometimes I do that, I'm not always so spiritual. Crap. Now I forget what I was going to say.
Oh, the music meeting.
Meeting. So yes, it's 2-3 in the morning. I know the one I found was an NA one. I'm not sure if AA does it too, but it's 2-3 in the morning, somewhere around there, Eastern time. And they play, you, as your name, you put the song, and then they play 2 minutes of that song. And then you share for another 2 minutes on why that song's special to you, where in your recovery. And I was like, what? Chip was saying that. And I was like, what? And then I remember catching it, and I thought it was crazy. I chickened out and I signed off. I'm not going to lie. It was also because it was so late in the middle of the night that I wasn't awake to be doing all that. But I think that music therapy is great. And I don't think that the message was distorted, unless, I think maybe if we went on there and they were playing songs like Ku Klux Klan or something insane that is going to deter the message and make NA look reflect NA, maybe but I can't see where that would necessarily, a song and why it's special to someone be against, NA as a whole.
Well, I mean, it depends on what song comes on.
That's what I mean. Like, and you would probably have to put that in the format. Like, like if it, I don't know,
Yeah. Listen, the other thing about this tradition is that if you think about it, we're giving a bunch of drunks free reign. Here's your meeting.
Which we've never had.
No, which we've never had, right?
A freedom and choice.
Yeah, exactly. I know. And you want me to come up with what? Shit, man. Hold on. I'm gonna make a whole production. Is whoa, slow down. Let's read the big book about that.
I've done production. It in home group. I've done it.
This is my meeting. This is what I'm gonna do. No,
and
it's
I
not.
Looked like an asshole. I learned all about tradition too when I did it too. I looked like an idiot.
I know, right? Well, but that's people taking pride in what they're doing, and
that's how we learn.
Running exactly, it's exactly how we learn. So but that just kind of like what some of these meetings that I go to that's been established for a long time, in-person meetings that I'm talking about now, that's been established a long time. My home group when I was back in Langhorne, I'm thinking like, who started this? Who ran this? Who decided? Like, who decided to have? So the meeting I went to back in Langhorne when I lived in Langhorne, there was a meeting 7 days a week at 7:30 or 7 o'clock. It's 7 days a week, and each meeting was different. And I'm like, well, who decides this? Like, does AA send a slip and said, check for this one, check for that one, check for this one? But no, people just do what they have to do. And same thing with our Friends in Recovery group, right? We have hosts on each meeting, 2 meetings a day, 7 days a week, but each host can run the meeting the way they want. Now, we gave them some information that they can use to read off of.
To keep that guideline. Yeah. To kind of keep that format of the energy and where, the direction we had, the primary principle, the purpose of why we're here.
But let's think about it. Is that breaking tradition 4's rule? Is that breaking? Because they should be autonomous. Now we're telling them we're not telling them that you have to, but we're sending them the reading, right? I mean,
no, because what you do is you do a group conscience. So we all got together on Zoom. Remember?
You're right. Yes.
And we all discussed it. We all, and then you have a vote. So that way it's, and a lot of this is all intertwined, like a lot of the tradition, like, and even like things we look at and, but we can't be autonomous without a group conscience. Like how else would we be?
That's true.
And figure out the structure. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why it's so important. So we all feel part of the decision.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what it is. Yeah. It has to be. We have to feel. And that's tradition 2, I think. Is that tradition 2?
Yeah. That's all about the group. The group conscience would be tradition 2.
Yeah.
The first one is the unity. That's what we play the unity in this part.
Yes.
Because autonomy is our consistent, and that's unity. And then tradition 3 is our the primary of the autonomy. Have a place of message is carried in a safe atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
so tradition 4 to me, Sky, like I'm reading through all the traditions, and traditions are meant for a couple of reasons. They're meant to give us some guidance in what we do in AA or NA, and I think they're all pretty good except for tradition 4. Like,
but they're not negotiable.
they're
not negotiable. They're the guidelines that keep us alive and our fellowship alive and free, right? Exactly. And that's what our literature says. And and the thing is the language. We have to really be like, when we start sticking around here, things just started popping out to me. Ought, never. None of the steps say ought in it.
Yeah.
Do they?
No,
they're also kind of suggested lange.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
This ought is like, yo, bitch, do that. You ought to do this. Like,
you ought to do it. Yeah. Well, to me, I keep wanting to say step, but tradition 4, do whatever you want. And if it's great, do whatever you want until it's not great, right? I mean, is that what you have? Is that what you do? Is like you do it until it's not great, like until you don't have people showing up. I mean, it's just, it really doesn't kind of do. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe to me, maybe I just don't know much of the traditions, and it doesn't do much for me. I mean, I read it and I'm like, well, first of all, I had to look up autonomous, and and the other thing is, how does something affect AA or NA as a whole? What would that be? Like, what would that be?
an example, I think that the NA literature gave, or somewheres I read. Okay, so out front of our meeting, right before we start, how we look in that community, the way like people's perception of NA members, that matters, because say we have this meeting at this church and we're always loud and obnoxious out there, right? And we leave cigarette butts everywhere. We don't really leave a good taste in the neighborhood's mouth because we're not being like, neighborly, right? And our behavior is not lining up with these spiritual principles we're supposed to be living by, right?
Yeah.
Then someone in the neighborhood is struggling, right? They need somewhere to go. Are they going to refer them to us? Probably not. And that could make somebody die. Like the unseen member that has not made it in is why this is so important. This tradition.
I guess.
Because we just don't realize how much our behavior and honest, I can tell you so many things I've done along this way where I'm like, oh my God, that was not fucking conducive for anybody in that room. that was conducive for me because I felt like, I was an asshole spraying that venom everywhere, but no one in the room
vomiting in the room, vomiting your feelings in the room.
Can you think back?
Yeah.
Like I've, and that's why, like, you're right where you're supposed to be, you know what I mean? And I don't doubt that, but that's why this stuff is important to eventually learn, you know what I mean? Because it helps us understand really like why we do things. And that keeps me around, because if I know why I'm doing it, I'm not going to rebel against it so much too. Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the other thing, Sky. What about let's say NA. I'm not picking on NA, but I'm just going to use this as an example. What if somebody wants to start a Suboxone meeting? Like people on Suboxone.
I read something on that too.
Right? Is that can they do that?
I would think
it's not hurting the group as a whole because you haven't everybody there. You're not hurting NA because it's not, you're not giving NA.
Give me an idea for like Camden. Like I'm kind of thinking outside the Suboxone or methadone treatment, they could do an MAT,
or an MAT meeting. Yeah, maybe because, let us know, guys. Maybe there's an MAT meeting out there. Maybe there's an MAT that would not fly in AA. I can tell you that.
So I called my buddy Nathan last night about this too, because I like it's good to just kind of kick ideas with each other, and then people experience members, like they know more than I do, and he gave me an example, and he said, like say in a certain area, we're having a step meeting, but it's all newcomers. That could be a conflict. Like that's not helping anybody. That's not serving anybody. So like we have to just keep what is good for that community, what's going to best serve that area, like what topics. Yeah. So do we need, if it's a newcomer area, maybe we should do it just for today daily meditation meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or daily reflections meeting. And
yes. Whatever it could be. Yes.
And John L's on here too. He there's a meeting near us in Morristown, and I believe it is a different fellowship, but it's AA. So, but they do this thing where you come in, they start the meeting, they do the readings, and then they break it up in all these different rooms. One room's a living clean reading, one room's a step, one room's a beginner, and one spot, like they do a whole like slew of like different topics throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
well, yeah, but again, it's not sent down from the higher ups or from anybody else, as far as what you do. And again, we're giving a bunch of drunks and addicts a free reign to do what they want to do. Also, rule number 62 comes from this tradition too.
What's that?
Don't take yourselves too damn seriously, right? So I if you read on, I'm just trying to think where this is. Well, on page 148 and 149, basically it's just telling us about a group that started and it sounded like a rehab. That's what it sounded like. And it was just kind of going over everything, telling all the rules that are in there. And then rule number 62 is don't take yourself so damn seriously. And my sponsor always says that, like we don't need all these rules. We don't need all this stuff, right? We don't need everything going on in life. But here's my question. If again, 149 in the 12 and 12, what does rule 62 or any rules have to do with tradition 4, right? Like I don't get it. I don't understand this chapter in the book. I really don't. I read it 3 times. I listen to podcasts and I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. So, but
that's okay. Clicking.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing too is it says here tradition 4, an AA group had exercised its right to be wrong. I like that. That's in
Mhm.
the last paragraph on page 149. We have the right to be wrong, because I think the reason why they say that at the end of this chapter is because we're a bunch of junks getting together, right? We're
I'm
a
gonna
bunch
make
of people
mistakes.
who, yeah, we don't know, we don't know which way is right, which way is left. A lot of us who are new in the program and shit, even me reading this chapter, I have no idea what it means, but
Well,
we
and
have
that's
the right to
why
be wrong.
I think the only part of this really, Ed, is that, like it goes back to tradition too, is that the ultimate authority. So
Mhm.
like we still have to leave it up to higher power, because you're right. Because here's the thing, we could all agree, like, hey, let's do a just for today meeting. And then we go there and it turns out to not be like a good thing. We have to come back to root conscience, say that, how are we carrying the message, guys? And when you
Yeah.
ask me that, I got to think of when a newcomer comes in, is that message being carried to him how it was carried to me when I first came in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's what we might have to change it. We might have to say
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, so we have the right to be wrong. So if we're wrong on the daily reflections meeting, maybe it's more of a speakers meeting. And here's the other thing
Mhm.
too. Like even on our friends in recovery meetings, daytime meetings are completely different energy than nighttime meetings, right?
Mhm.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. You get different people in during the day, you get
Yeah.
different kind of, than people at night, right? And that, it's just like you couldn't take a nighttime meeting and stick it into a daytime meeting and expect either retirees or people who work maybe the 3 to 11 shift to kind of understand that thing. And the other thing too with the daytime meetings, I noticed when I went to in person, if it's a 12 o'clock meeting or 11 a.m. meeting or a 2 o'clock meeting, they are done in an hour and that is it. And that's it. They stop and that's
A
it.
quick lunch break,
Yeah, yeah, you're on lunch, you're doing what you have to do. Matter of fact, some people leave early, 15 minutes early to get back to whatever they're doing.
Mhm.
A lot of these meetings are in office parks. You ever been to a meeting in an office park? Like
Mm-mm.
Dow Jones or all tons of office parks in North Jersey. That's the only really place I really seen them. But they have meetings in office parks. And
Like business developments, like industrial
like,
parks.
yeah, like office build, like these conglomerates of properties where like Dow Jones and
Okay, yeah,
Twitter and this and that and the other thing. and
they're not in
and
churches.
What's no in an office building itself,
Hmm.
in a room, in um a conference room. It's the weirdest thing. But
Yeah, it is.
think about it though. If you want to go to a lunchtime meeting, it's a 12:15 meeting, gives you 15 minutes to get over there, and in 10 minutes to get back in that little kind of
Yeah,
office park. Office park, that's the word I'm looking for. So
yeah.
has everybody heard of that? Let us know. And is it right to leave a meeting 15 minutes earlier? Come into a meeting, leave 15 minutes early. Well, according to this tradition, it doesn't fucking matter.
The only requirement is desire, really. I mean,
Desire to stop drinking. Yeah. You could
yeah.
come
So I
drunk.
mean,
Like you
that's why
said.
they all kind of mingle, and then even tradition 5's a little in here too, because that's about carrying the message. Like
Mhm.
so, they all and just like the step work they're thinking about too, like honesty goes across in most of the steps, willingness,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I don't even know what else to say about this. I mean, there's not much to say, except for that autonomy is a $10 word, right? And each group should be autonomous except in a matter affecting other groups or AA as a whole. That is our tradition for guys. And I'm just going to sum it up with this, Sky. You know, I think that whatever tradition we're talking about, tradition for whatever it is, there's a higher purpose to each one of these traditions. There is a bigger meaning, maybe more than what we were listening about. There's a reason why they put this tradition in here, right? There's a reason. I'm not sure why, but I mean, we're talking a little bit about it, but it makes sense. It makes 100% sense that each group needs to be on their own, right? Each group needs to be who they need to be and express themselves. Because when we were prisoners of alcohol and drugs, we could not express ourselves. We could not do what we wanted to do in life. We could not be free. We could not be kind of creative. We were a slave to the drug or the drink. And when we got into when I got into recovery, that's when my creativity kind of got out there and kind of was going wild. And somebody wants me to read, they have this piece of paper and they want me to read this, right? And not knowing that it didn't come from AA, the higher ups, or whatever. It was put together by a bunch of drunks that had one purpose, is to stay sober, right? Is to stay sober. And that is it. That's it. So whatever we put together, whatever we do to keep AA going, and that particular meeting, right?
Yeah.
It benefits me, and the story benefits me. So I don't know. I don't. What's your thoughts on the rest of it?
Yeah, I got just a few more things to point out real quick. Of course, right. So I love this book only because it does the traditions too, just like you guys have it. But whatchamacallit? So I thought about some examples, right? So also the name of a meeting is also like we all pick a name, and we'd have to be.
Oh yeah.
And you ever think we name so Nathan was explaining that too. We use names that define recovery, like not outside entities. So you couldn't be like this is the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles AA group. Like you couldn't. You know what I mean? Like, and it was funny. A guy in a meeting the other day was showing like something of like when he used to work at the thing, and he was like covering that. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm breaking a tradition," and I didn't get it. And now I'm saying this out loud. And I'm like,
yeah, there it is.
It's little stuff, but like, and it didn't ruin the meeting because he showed it, but it's just little things. And then the autonomy, right? So I think the purpose is feeling a part of something. Right. This is all about, like, I've been searching for some place I felt a part of for a long time. Right. And in this group, I can feel that. And that's part of too. But the autonomy, even like we might be struggling to follow the guidelines. Right. But I'm still made like to feel a part of in that group. Even if I'm rebelling, like wanting to go against the guidelines, like I'm still a part of that home group. Like, so it still makes me feel a part of, and whatchamacallit. So, and then the spiritual principles of this we look at are just the freedom for the individual addict member, the responsibility of that freedom, and the open-mindedness, unity, and anonymity. And anonymity is huge here too, because let me see here. And love too. Yeah, and unity. There's a lot to this.
Well, there is a lot to it. It's a short chapter, but
anonymity is like that unseen person. Like our behavior is huge. Like changing, like we can be clean up in NA and be acting a fool. You know what I mean? And that's where we're trying to show a different way of life, and we're showing that in these rooms and in our meetings. And we have a responsibility as members.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, you said feeling a part of something, right? That's the important part. We're feeling a part of something. And here's the thing. Did you ever hear the expression when you said that? It just kind of clicked why they say this, right? Go to a meeting at least 4 times or 6 times. What's the old saying? Go to a meeting 6 times or 5 times. Let's say 5 times. And if you don't like it, find another meeting. If you don't like it, find another meeting, right? And the reason being is you need to be I need to be part of something. I need to understand. I need to know that I fit in, because guys, the only way I fit in when I was drinking was when I was drinking. That's the only way I fucking fit in, or when I was using. Otherwise, I didn't fit in. Really, I didn't. I mean, it may seem different now. We were on here. I can talk to a doorknob and get an answer out of it today. But way back when, I was not that person. I mean, I was outgoing, don't get me wrong, but it took a lot of drinking for me to do, to talk to somebody, or to get a date when I was dating, or to, talk to, a family member who I haven't seen in years at a party or whatever it was, now I'm like, fuck it, I just go up to them and just say hello. But feeling a part of something. And I think that's what this tradition does. It allows us to do that because
because even if we're against those, we're still a part of it. I could come to a business meeting every fucking month and say, Ed, I'm sick of the fucking crosstalk around here. I'm tired of it. And you guys can't tell me I can't come back because remember tradition 3, I have a desire. But I'm still part of this, even if I'm the asshole every month that brings up that same fucking suggestion you guys always vote me out of.
Yeah.
How fucking awesome is that? See, that's kind of a nice protection that keeps the unity.
That's right. Well, think about this. I'm glad you brought this up. And now we're going to a whole different level with this. But think about this, right? I know. So think about the Skylar that complains every month, like about whatever crosstalk. Think about how many meetings are in AA, right? Or NA, and think of how many people complain about cross-talking, right? Now, if it came from the higher ups, that cross-talking, if you complain about cross-talking, you're not a member of our group anymore, thousands of people would be out of AA or NA. Think about it, right?
Well, you would be out. To win the group conscience, though.
No. I'm just saying if it was different.
The higher ups couldn't take it out, though.
Could not. No, they couldn't because of our traditions. And especially because it is tradition, because you can run the meeting the way you want it to run, as long as it doesn't hurt other groups or AA or NA. And I understand that piece of it.
It's cool. It really is because it's deep and they really thought about us a lot. Like just the protection, the amount of love that each member shows each other. And we think like sometimes we're being judgmental of ourselves, others, or people are judging us, but we're really a lot more tolerable of each other than we realize.
Oh yeah.
And that's something we just, and I mean that in a good way because, like we are just fucking strong motherfuckers, man. Like we just, and even with dealing with personalities. Cause like that's why the traditions we can use in the real world.
Yeah.
Cause this stuff is, the group conscious, that's a good thing.
Exactly what you were talking about complaining or cross-talking, whatever. But think about even, and I was that guy all those years ago. How many times, and especially beginners meetings, how many times you go to a beginners meeting and you hear the same guy or girl or person saying the same shit over every week? I'm like, oh my God. But think about if there wasn't a beginners meeting, just because I have a problem and you might have the same problem. Say we lost our kids due to our drinking and drugging. You might get it over. You might get over it quicker and move on before I do, right? And if we're in the same room and we're complaining or bitching about, my ex or my this, my that, and you're moving over it, like shut the fuck up and just move on with it. No, that's not what we do.
You might never come back again and you might die.
Exactly.
You might fucking die.
Yeah.
And that's why the love and the acceptance of like meeting people where they're at, saying you're just where you're supposed to be, keep coming back. They're those silly little sayings that like, you kind of sound like an idiot. You might sound like an idiot. I'm not going to disagree with you because, hey, you might have a point or you might think differently tomorrow.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's that blanket of like love and unity.
Yeah. Exactly. But you love unity. Just accepting us for who we are, so we can walk into a meeting that was designed by somebody just like me, right? Somebody just like me. And I'm not afraid to walk into that meeting. I'm not afraid to be at that meeting. I'm not afraid that I'm going to get kicked out because I'm not like the rest.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not like the rest. So that's why I guess this tradition is really important, that we don't conform to what the higher ups are saying. I keep saying higher ups, but what the world, headquarters would say or whatever. Yeah. And it can't be that way. And I understood that through putting our Friends in Recovery meetings together, right? Because we, trying to, at first I thought I was like, and I should have read Tradition 4. I really should have read Tradition 4 while we were putting all this together. So I was trying to like,
but that's how we learn though.
It is. You're right. But trying to put a step meeting here, this one there, this one there. What if we had all step meetings the whole week? We couldn't say a word. Because of Tradition 4, I couldn't tell you not to do a step meeting. So you couldn't tell me not to do a step meeting, and it doesn't hurt anybody.
We have to talk to it about each other as a group.
Exactly.
So everybody's say would matter. Even if you're overvoted, your say still mattered. Your
yes,
vote
of
still
course.
counted.
Yeah,
exactly. And that matters because for a long time we didn't matter. Like our voice really didn't matter.
No,
because we were chasing, ripping, and running, and like we didn't have like a purpose. And now we have a primary purpose, and it's to carry fucking hope. We don't sell dope, we sell motherfucking hope now.
That's right.
Like,
that's right, bitches.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get excited. This shit is awesome because I know it kind of feels boring, and I get that because I felt like that too. But I try to like make it fun and learning. I'm calling my buddy last night, and he's like on a meeting, like pausing it real quick, and we're like kicking the ball around about it, and then like we're texting and about. So like it just kind of keeps it fun, with how we learn it, and like and it's skills that like still help me though.
Oh yeah.
Like love, unity, that stuff I still need to learn. You know what I mean? Because traditions, I mean, fucking step 6, my problem is I want love, but how I go about getting love.
Yeah.
Character defects. So this reminds me through the group I got love,
Exactly. Yeah.
It also helps with the step work and our recovery all together. Like,
So, well, and through the group, you're right. The love does come because, should like, again, if it came down, okay, this group has to do this has to do that, blah, 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 could we be as open as we were? Could we be bringing people in the way we do? Would we let drunks in? Would we let drunk people in? Right. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I sat next to somebody in a meeting that was drunk. How many times I went on to a meeting on Zoom, you could tell these people are drunk. And the
they have a group conscious, they can't share. Some meetings have a group conscious you can't share if you're impaired. Yes. But you're right, we can't really turn them away either because they have the desire to be there. They might not be sober, but they have the desire.
The desire is to be in that room. You're in that room.
Protected if we're high or drunk in a meeting.
But don't go.
Not giving you ideas, but I'm just saying, where else can you be tolerated time and time again to try to keep growing? Like, and I mean tolerated and also encouraged. To put this shit down, that there's a better way to live. And then I can also see you living it with your feet. Yeah.
And then you're welcome back the next day, right? The next day.
Yep.
And we still love you. We still love you. We still care about you. Because here's the thing. I never want to be in that person's shoes. I never want to be that guy or that girl that came in high or drunk in that meeting. I did it once or twice at the beginning, and that was it.
It was such a buzzkill.
I know. But I don't want to be that person ever again. I want to grow. There's no growth in any of what you're talking about. The growth comes when we open our minds up, even to a tradition that we don't even understand. When I read this tradition, I was like, you know what? We were going back and forth. We had to kill the time. Tiff wasn't feeling good. And then I'm like, oh, let's do it next week or blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, let's just cancel this show altogether because this fucking tradition makes no sense to me at all. Yeah. Right? I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is crazy.
I'm going to be doing a solo recording by myself about this tradition. I know it. I'm going to be just reading out the book.
I know. But now it makes a lot of sense that we really have to be autonomous.
And I think back to our group conscious meeting, and I'm just going to break it in just to point. There's a point where for me with a home group, I went there because of how I felt. Carla, I love Friends in Recovery because how it makes me feel. I like that we're a little different. You know what I mean? Like they're the reasons we keep going. You hear this, get in where you fit in. I say it shit all the time. So it's like whatever. And if your home group plays a fucking Jimi Hendrix song for you to process your feelings, I'm down with it, man. And if you're finding healing there,
and if it's keeping people sober, so that music meeting we were talking about earlier in the show, if that's keeping people sober, who the fuck cares? Like, who am I to say that's not going to keep you?
That's another part of this tradition too.
Who the fuck cares?
I wrote that down too. The other part too is like, who are we to say what group's wrong and isn't? If autonomous, like for the definition of autonomous, you know what I mean? So it's very valid, and that's why it's kind of controversial a little bit. But
Yeah.
Oh, and Joe loves us, and Corey C. Oh,
Corey, Joe. I guess they're here too. Yes, I see that.
I love Corey.
I was actually going to reach out to Joe and have him come on and share on Tradition 4, but I gave him a break. So
I gave your meeting a shout out. So put it in the chat here, Joe. Your new meeting.
Oh yeah. That's right. Your new meeting. That's right. Yeah, that's why you gave a shout out. So, so each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or NA as a whole, right? And so I'll be honest with this guy. I didn't think we were going to go this long about it. I didn't think
no, this is
I had
bomb.
I had no idea that
I just got so amped up. Like I'm like fueled up. I'm like,
I know.
Forget all these people in my house that are driving me crazy.
Exactly.
Forget the step work. I got to get over like
I
all
know,
this.
I
I'm
know.
pumped. I feel good about it because like that's what I love about here. Like with this podcast, you guys is we remind each other. Like my primary purpose, I feel like why I came in. You know what I mean? Like, it's this little stuff, and it's just learning this stuff because like I want to keep being like a better person, and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, no,
and like
because I was not a better person before this show. I can tell you, I was.
It's hard to compromise in a group because I want my fucking way.
I know,
right? So like it's just teaching me life skills and in a traditional way.
In a traditional way. Think how we only do this once a month. I know, right?
It's just it does like this is we could apply this to our work like meeting in certain ways, just different ways that we apply all this stuff. And I just love it. I'm so glad that we're here and glad that we have all you guys here listening too.
Well, applying
this,
Tony's here. Yes, I know. Hi, Tony. Everybody, I want to thank everybody in the Facebook Live group too. We thank you guys for kind of giving us shout outs and kind of giving us some
makes it fun.
It does. Yeah. I love this Facebook live stuff because we can interact with the audience and we can kind of go back and forth from what we're talking about, and they provide us like just Beth did with some.
Oh hell yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Help us fucking heal together. I'm serious because that's how we all learn.
Exactly. And if you come on here, please join us on Facebook Live, and we'd love to hear your comments about everything. What did Beth say? You want to read that?
So it says limits to freedom granted by the fourth tradition. The autonomy provided in tradition 4 does not mean an individual group has the authority to reword the 12 steps or traditions.
Yes.
Or to create its own literature. So we do have to follow that. Like that's from the ones above, we'll say, right?
Okay. All right.
Nor should groups introduce, discuss, or sell outside literature at their meeting places. So I can't write, I can't sell Melanie Beattie, who, Codependent No More.
Yeah.
Even though Hazelton make it's not AA literature, NA literature.
Yeah.
Other than that, groups have complete freedom to design their program to the need of their members. Exactly. So what can result in a wide variety of formats.
Yeah.
Many meetings have gotten away from where
are we?
Gotten away from the look and feel of the primary purpose of by using non-conference approved literature, showing videos of popular self-help speakers, allowing treatment professionals to speak.
But I want to stop you there. But this tradition allows us to do that, right? Because they can't tell us what to do and what not to do in the meeting, the music meeting.
But the endorsing comes later on. So a treatment center would be.
Well, you can't go in and say, hey, send everybody to Genesis house. So you're fucking, if you're relapsing here, you can't do that. You just go in as an addict and alcoholic and share your experience, strength, and hopes, even if you're a professional or what, or if you're, I mean, it's kind of
and it says right or wrong way to hold a meeting, but the group can cease carrying the message if it strays too far.
And if you don't like the meeting, go to another one, because that meeting is keeping somebody sober, right? That meeting's keeping, I mean, if you don't like it, just go to another one. Go to the one that you like. If you like a traditional meeting, go to a traditional meeting. Don't go to the 2:00 in the morning fucking meeting that plays music and then you share on fucking Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy. I don't know what that means, but I'll have to think.
I might be playing Wu-Tang and you're not really feeling it. So I might be my 36 motherfucking chambers, all up in that, grave diggers and all. If you don't know what I'm talking about, give me a shout out. Hey, chat on YouTube too.
That's right. Exactly.
But it's that's why it's controversial. That's why it can get sticky, I think, But the reality is the primary purpose, and feeling a part of and the unity.
Yeah. I want to read just the beginning of page 122 before we close.
Okay.
And I think this will tie a lot of things together in the daily reflections. AA is not a cure-all. It would be a product of false pride to claim that AA is a cure-all, even for alcoholism. And I think that also kind of ties into this step and into this tradition, because AA is not a cure-all. We don't go to a meeting and think that once I walk out of this 12-step meeting or this speaker meeting or this music meeting, I'm going to be cured, right? No, definitely not. There's a lot more we have to do. We have to, we have to go to the meetings. Of course, we have to work with our sponsors. We have to work the steps. We have to get maybe professional help, maybe medication, maybe rehab, maybe detox, maybe, seeking spiritual help, speaking religious help, whatever that might be. So it's a well-rounded program. So if we're going to walk into a meeting and we're going to hate a meeting because it's a music meeting or if it's a speaker meeting, first of all, you have 20,000 other meetings to go to, especially on Zoom. You can just walk into anywhere you go. And also, we have to be well-rounded. Of course, AA is my stepping stone, is my keystone of my recovery. But I also have other avenues. I don't sit on AA meetings all day long, right? Trying to find the right one. I have to have other outlets of my not my cure, but my learning. And you said it before, I need to not stop learning. I just keep learning. And you guys, even in the Facebook Live, you guys know I say this: if I'm the smartest person in a room, I better get the fuck out of there, or I better check my motives. I better learn from some.
Well, and thank God we have groups to do that, because then they can be like, Skylar, you're really stuck in some ego. They might not say it this way. They might not say, Skylar, you're in a little pride and ego this month with your input on the home group. You might have some PMS this month. They're not going to say it like that. They're going to say, well, how else can we do it? Or what do you guys all think as a group? And you guys as a group are going to know me and be like, she's a little out of character. Let's just look over this and keep coming back. And that's how we all kind of work together too. It's like, so we kind of, that's as a whole, how we kind of keep each other accountable and the group accountable. Because again, they're not negotiable,
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing, it works if you work it, right? So that's the big thing in any meeting. It works if you work it. So if you go to that, and that's why I said that about if I'm the smartest person in the room, I better rethink it, or I better get the hell out, because I can learn from anything, from a music meeting, from whatever meeting anybody brings up, whatever tradition for meeting that they want to do, I can learn from it. I can learn that, this meeting wasn't for me and I'm not going to come back here. I'm going to go to another meeting. I learned something from that meeting, right? I cannot walk out of a meeting and say that I didn't fucking learn anything from a meeting. And the day I do that, I might as well walk out of a fucking meeting and go right to the car, motherfucker.
Don't tell your sponsor that shit. You're going to get cussed out. I did.
Yeah.
And you know what she said? Skylar, sometimes you need to be the message. Raise your fucking hand and reroute the meeting to some hope.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Because NA says that the vehicle of the NA groups are the vehicle for the message of recovery. You know what I mean? That's how we, get the message out there,
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Exactly. Be the change you want to see in the world, right? Is that Gandhi, or who's that? I think it's Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world. Right. And that's it. Be the change you want to see in the meetings. If there's something there that you don't like you said, just be the message. Don't ever walk out of a meeting, guys, saying that it wasn't a good meeting, because a bad day at a meeting is better than a good day drunk, because a good day drunk, usually I end up in bad places. I usually ended up with bad people, and I usually end up doing bad fucking things on a good day of drinking. Right? On a good day of drinking and drug. And that's where I usually ended up at. On a bad day at a meeting, I get to walk out of there, scratch my head, call my sponsor and say, "Spons, wasn't the greatest meeting in the world." "What do you mean it wasn't the greatest?" Especially if you have a sponsor like me, And then that's when shit starts getting real.
Did you help somebody? Did you fucking talk to a newcomer? Because honestly, as experienced members, in the sense of being around for a while and working the steps, we have a responsibility. Like if we see that person sharing that might be out of line, like someone at a meeting before read like who was an addict, and I could just see the other members' faces cringing, like, oh my God, that's not NA literature. Oh my God. So I just went up to the girl afterwards because I don't want her to not come back ever again. And I said, hey, next time what you might want to do, like, again, I'm not going to say the PMS thing. I'm going to say it in a nice way, a loving and caring way, because we're all sensitive here too. Let's be real. Yeah. And I said, hey, you know what I might do next time is just read one of your favorite lines out of it or sum it up, and that's just how you say it nicer, because we don't read outside literature and blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, exactly. And, exactly. Well, Beth also said you don't have to like everybody in the program. Exactly. Just respect them.
Because you know what? They tell us to share until we're tired of fucking hearing ourselves share it. How can I do that if you're judging my share or telling me not to share something? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It might be part of my healing that I need to be saying or doing what I'm doing. Yeah. And y'all just need to help me.
Well, the other thing, we can't judge people either. We shouldn't say we can judge people, but that's not what this program is.
Be careful. Be careful
because you don't know what their life was in the past. You have no idea.
Everything I judge people on, Ed, I ended up fucking being right there in their shoes at one point or another.
Of course.
Right? I mean, let's be real. Like,
yep, absolutely. Yep. It's tough. I mean, we can go on and on and on about this tradition. I didn't think we could, but and it leads.
And everyone else got super involved too and helped teach us too. Like,
yeah, they did. Absolutely. It's Joe said, if I start judging other people, I have to look within.
Exactly.
And figure out
what I mean. So even if we go to a fucking meeting miserable every week, and on that meeting, I'm always like, I want to fucking make this a step meeting. And if, like it's pissing me off, even though you guys are tolerant, you guys are learning spiritual principles, I'm learning them. Like, we're just respecting each other, and it's keeping me clean, even if I come there and bitch once a month with y'all.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's why they say fake it till you make it. Act as if. Whatever.
That's it. Yeah.
We love you. We fucking love you.
The other thing too is a resentment in a room, sitting in an AA meeting or an NA meeting, holding a resentment against the group. That's the worst. Because not only you're first of all, you're holding a resentment against everybody. Right. Mm-hmm. That this meeting sucks, that this meeting is not the right meeting. It should be this way. It should be that way. Right. But then
best.
Exactly. Yeah. But again, if you don't like the meeting, because that was their rules of that governing body, they made the rules, go to another meeting, drop the resentment, get the hell out of there and go to another meeting.
More than likely you'll keep coming back and you'll figure out why it was bothering you. If you're really healing, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that happened to me at a home group. I was resentful as ever. And it was, they like, we had a group conscience, and I felt like the one lady that started it, she struggled with, like, Tradition 2 talks about it, where, people that start it, they kind of like take it on as their own, and pride and ego gets involved. And like, and that's what was kind of happening with her. But I had to like call my sponsor. I had to learn more. She had to teach me some. We had to make amends with each other. It was a whole process, and I fucking learned from it. And then we had me and Miss Karen are still fucking so close. Because seriously, that's what started everything, because we were arguing.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Think about a group conscious meeting is usually set up by a resentment, right?
Like, no, it's every month.
Yeah, but usually it's set up with a resentment. I don't like what's going on in this meeting, or I want to change this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not every month, but you know what I mean? It's set up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you come in there to bitch about the meeting, or bitch about what's going on, or how can we change this? Right. Yeah. I mean, everybody, we should look at the meeting as helping us. We should look at the meeting that we're another day sober.
And we were the last ones to know we were addicts. Exactly. We're going to be the last one to see we're doing a good job.
Exactly. I mean, there's some changes that have to be made, but I mean, I haven't been to a lot of group conscious meetings, but usually people do bitch in them about specific.
Well, and your job kind of always made it hard for you too. And now, like, with the Zoom platform, that's really gotten you super involved with it too now. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so it's gone so many ways, like the growth of like the fellowship with the Zoom stuff. And
exactly. Well, we managed to talk about everything around.
I know. We even got fucking shit in the notes. Check the notes out, y'all, because they even like quoted the pages and everything. They were super helpful.
I know.
And that's fabulous, because that just keeps it growing. Like, that's why I'm here, for that shit there.
That's it. Well, I could tell you, Sky, my day is going much better now.
Much better.
That we came on here, and I'm extremely happy that we were that we came on and we didn't wait till Monday or last minute just because I was because I had a resentment against whatever. So, but tradition 4, guys, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting others as a group or AA or NA as a whole. And that's about all we have on this today. Oh, well,
so he said he's not coming anymore because our backgrounds are stupid.
We'll have to bring that up in group conscious.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Well, listen,
What's up over with Tiff? I fucking love you guys. See, it's the unity because I'm laughing now. We were you guys don't realize how pissy we were in the beginning. You might want to rewind the show and watch it again.
I know.
Because we're both cracking up now.
God. Anyways, tradition 4, guys, and thank you, everybody. One quick thing before we close, Sky, I want to just talk about SoberPod. Carl, I'm surprised Carl wasn't on here today, but turn your dial to the left. I said,
you, Joe.
That's pretty good, Sky. She just turned her background to the whatchamacallit, the
Northern Lights.
The Northern Lights, yeah. But SoberPod, go listen to SoberPod, guys. Yes. We love SoberPod. Those guys are great. Carl and Chelsea talking shit and just kind of getting the message out. I don't have much more to say on tradition 4. I am like so. I'm reading the everything that's going on in the chat room.
And Tiff just wrote us back, and she's just like woke up to all of our texts, so confused. So now we have to go figure out that group conscience.
Exactly. So, but anyways, guys, that's we massacred this topic long enough. Stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.